Hi, my name is Hilbert Copeland, and this is the reflective vlog for Module 10. So, excuse me, in Module 10, much of the focus is on goal setting, achieving goals, assessing goals, or clients and social workers meeting and assessing these goals, developing tasks to partialize these goals. So when prompted with the first question of consider why social workers plan for the evaluation of goal achievement, as well as how progress is monitored and measured, immediately my brain began to process that information in terms of what I had learned from the text, which resulted in the response, the thought of goals are considered the remedy of the target problem or issue. So goals do guide the work of both the client and the social worker, meaning that these goals have to be agreed upon by both parties. Traditionally, these goals are decided in tandem between both parties, and there are a few exceptions, such as involuntary clients with court mandates. However, the text does explain several solutions to working with involuntary clients and how to help them see the value in goal creation and execution, but also sometimes even the concept of let's throw out the mandate and instead focus on a goal akin to it or in lieu of it, while still keeping that mandate in mind, because of course it is radically important. uh, According to Hepworth et al., it's critical to monitor and evaluate goal progress. Goals should include a precise definition of the problem and what it is to be changed. And it also clarifies the observations to be made that indicate progress towards the identified goal. So really, we have to do, we as in social workers, have to monitor and evaluate goal progress. And we have to bring our clients along in that process because it really informs the entirety of what we do and the goal attainment of the client. Typically, such monitoring and evaluation are planned for different stages of the helping or goal attainment process. Ongoing monitoring and evaluation help reduce surprises for both client and social worker. And it also positively informs the process so that the necessary action steps can be determined and executed to assist in changing the target concern. Following that kind of overall generalized sentiment about evaluation, monitoring, goal setting, we also have the question of why is it significant, or what is the significance of monitoring and measuring progress towards goal attainment? My answer to that is that ultimately a social worker's greatest ambition is to provide their client with the tools and support necessary to change the status of their target concern, to remedy whatever it is that is ailing them or proving to be an obstacle, and working through that. The most dependable methodology for implementing such change requires the monitoring and measuring of goal progress. So occasionally, planned tasks and objectives may fall short of propelling one's client to their goal. And in those instances, monitoring and evaluation helps the social worker and the client correct action. Maybe they determine that the goal needs to be somewhat adjusted. Maybe they determine that they should partialize the goal further. Maybe they realize that the certain set of tasks that they created to reach this goal doesn't necessarily work in the fashion that they expected. Now, all of these are apt reasons to make changes to a contract, to the goal, to the task associated with the goal. But if you are not monitoring and evaluating as a social worker, and you're not doing so with your client, then really you put first, your practice is incompetent because it is a best practice. But additionally, you place yourself in a position to underserve your client, and that's not acceptable. Another reason that evaluation, that monitoring and measuring is so important is because it helps us understand when the client has met their goal or when they've had success, and celebrating those things is critically important. There are a couple of considerations that a social worker needs to think of when planning the evaluation of goal development. For me, I think one of the most important facets, the most important consideration is client involvement. A client is their own self-expert. They know themselves better than anyone else, and they have a right to determine for themselves how they would like their life to look, how they would like to handle a problem, or if there is a problem for them to handle. So social workers have to be really mindful and considerate of allowing our clients to be self-determining. I also think another consideration to make is what contracting practice are you going to use with your client? How are you going to talk about goal attainment? How are you going to talk about treatment? How are you going to talk about helping them reach what it is that they're trying to reach? And as an added bonus, personally, I've always struggled with the concept of SMART goals. I've always found them to be pretty limiting, but I've also understood them to have an inherent value in terms of I can make my progress, or I can chart my progress in a more measurable and manageable way because they traditionally are smaller. Um, After watching the provided YouTube clip for this module, uh, why SMART goals are only half smart by Azamid Aranwunde from the University of Winnipeg, I really began to try to consider what I thought about SMART goals in terms of social work clients, which led me to doing some more research. It ultimately landed me on a website called Foundry Magazine, and it's really meant for management and technology. But there's this kind of ideology that SMART goals, much like what was said in the YouTube video, that they can be really narrow, they can be really limiting. And sometimes we prioritize small success over like this sweeping, idealistic, optimistic view of what the future could be. And so I do think that SMART goals are necessary in practice. I understand in social work that they really serve a higher purpose. But I also think there's an interesting component of, are we limiting our clients? Are we limiting their ability to dream and do more? Are we limiting their approach to their target concern? And I think while not letting that necessarily guide your goal setting practice, that contracting practice, it does make for an interesting conversation piece of, am I trusting my client? Am I working with them to serve a higher purpose, to help them remove any barriers or obstacles or problems that may be in their way? And I think that makes for a really compelling question. That's all for the Module 10 vlog. My name's Silver Copeland. Thank you.